Let's take a listen to a young man who you'll hear the spasmodic dysphonia, the strangled voice, and you will know what this voice can do to the psyche and to your relationships in life, not only in career, but socially in every other way.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act like a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is diverse in white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch and its path high above. And its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. When a man looks for something beyond his reach, his friends say he is looking for a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Let's take a listen to the next voice.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act like a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is divided into white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch, with its path high above, and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to a legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. When a man looks for something beyond his reach, his friends say he's looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
That is his new voice. He's been able to hold on to that voice for approximately 7 years. And you can tell the difference between the old voice and the new. It is said that those with spasmodic dysphonia cannot talk on the phone. That's very, very valid. Hey, go talk on the phone. This young man is now about to talk on the phone for you so you can hear his phone voice. The young lady you heard just a few moments ago can talk on the phone. There's no problem whatsoever. The gentleman before, Ginger, had no problem and has no problem talking on the phone with his new voice, which remains cured. Let's take a listen to this young man's phone voice.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I haven't heard from Dr. Cooper in a while. I think we lost contact, and then, I don't even think anything of it anymore. It's funny, thinking back to that time that I spoke so poorly and how bad I spoke. I guess it's been about 7 years now. But it's all good and well.
Now, let's go back to his strangled voice, shall we?
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act like a prism and form a rainbow. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act like a prism and form a rainbow. It's hard to talk. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's when he first came in. Let's take a listen to him telling us what he did, in essence, to get out of spasmodic dysphonia by what I told him to do.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act like a prism and form a rainbow. Comparing the new voice to the old voice, in my head it sounds very loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This voice sounds very loud to me. It seems like if I was talking, everybody in the whole street block could hear me.
He believes he's very loud. That's the feeling when you change from the lower throat up to the face. You have the impression in your head that you're very loud because you're hearing yourself through the bones of your head. And so I work step by step to get patients to use the new voice and get them to be aware it's not loud, it's not offensive, it's not artificial, it's not phony, it's not robotic, which they will say, and I write about that.
As a project manager, and then a friend of mine had been working with a little company since before I had worked into the position of employment director, manager of employment, and he continued to make overtures.
Dr. Henry J. Rubin, one of the foremost ear, nose, and throat doctors in the country, diagnosed this young man with spasmodic dysphonia. He referred him to me. Let's take a listen to the new voice.
To pick her up before too late, and take her home. Do I feel that I'm likely to go back to it? No, I don't.
This young man was presented at the California Speech and Hearing Association before a large audience years ago and told about his recovery from spasmodic dysphonia. He can talk in public, he can talk on the phone, he can talk anywhere he wanted. He had a perfectly normal voice. Let's continue the odyssey of cures of spasmodic dysphonia, thought hopeless by the medical community and my field as well.
This voice was coming, I sing, God damn it. This voice was coming, I sing, God damn it.
You're listening to a young man who had spasmodic dysphonia and was diagnosed by Dr. Ed Cantor, one of the foremost ear, nose, and throat doctors in the country, who practices in Beverly Hills, California. I sent the young man back to Dr. Cantor to confirm the fact that this patient had spasmodic dysphonia. Dr. Cantor did confirm he had spasmodic dysphonia and referred him back to me. Let's take a listen to his new voice.
He sent me directly to Dr. Cantor, and Dr. Cantor diagnosed me as having spastic dysphonia after running some very extensive tests to the extent of sticking, I think they call it a spectroscope or something, down my throat and taking a picture of my vocal cords while I was watching. That was really, really pleasant, Dr. Cantor. I really loved that. Anyway, he sent me right back to Dr. Cooper when we discovered there was nothing physically wrong with my vocal cords or nothing that we could see. And said that I had spastic dysphonia, gave me a letter from my insurance company to that effect, as a matter of fact. Within a month of therapy with Dr. Cooper, I was using my voice again to the extent that I could go out on interviews and auditions, and shortly thereafter actually worked. And by the end of May, I felt secure enough, and Dr. Cooper agreed that I was through with therapy.
So it took you 6 months to get
It
out
took me
of it?
5 months, less than 5 months. I think I was ready to go about the first part of May, but Dr. Cooper's such a fun guy to be around, I just didn't want to leave, so he finally cut me loose.
It's a pleasure to listen to this young man and his story of being cured of spasmodic dysphonia, spastic dysphonia, by what I do, direct voice rehab. I've known his ear, nose, and throat doctor, Ed Cantor, for a number of years, and have had a wonderful relationship with my colleagues in ear, nose, and throat, as I had been on the staff and faculty at the medical center for 8 years and ran the voice and speech clinic for that division. Let's take a listen to a young lady who tells you about her spasmodic dysphonia or spastic dysphonia. The difference between the two is spastic is a total. There is no clarity to it. We've heard patients who have this condition. It's diagnosed as spastic. For the most part, it's now also called spasmodic dysphonia. That's when it comes and goes rather than is a constant. But the term is used interchangeably. Let's take a listen to this young lady who was diagnosed with spasmodic or spastic dysphonia.
Somebody, yes, the first ear, nose, and throat doctor I went to said I was talking way up here, because when I talked down here, I couldn't get the sound out. And he said, I don't want you to talk in that little girl's voice anymore. You talk in your regular voice. I said, but when I talk in my regular voice, you can't understand what I'm saying.
The ear, nose, and throat doctor involved in this case is well-intentioned, is humanitarian, and compassionate. Advised the patient to talk in a deeper tone in the lower throat, apparently. The ear, nose, and throat doctor is affiliated with UCLA Medical Center and assured this young lady that, as I indicated before, her problem and condition was hopeless and incurable. Let's take a listen to her new voice.
Yes, I had spastic dysphonia.
Tell me about it.
I had a strangled voice. It was very difficult to speak. When I did speak, it sounded strangled.
When you talk in the car with this voice, can people hear you?
Yes, yes,
Did you have trouble before when you had spastic dysphonia?
yes. I had a great deal of trouble before. In fact, I couldn't talk in the car. I couldn't talk in a restaurant wherever there was noise.
Could you talk on the phone?
No, I couldn't talk on the phone either.
Can you talk on the phone now?
Yes, I can talk on the phone. I can talk in a restaurant. I can talk in the car.
This young lady has been cured of spasmodic dysphonia for over 15 years and more. The point I'm making is that spasmodic dysphonia is not an incurable or hopeless problem. It's curable by direct voice rehabilitation.